Are Birmingham City building themselves a League One dream team ahead of the 24-25 season? If reported fees are correct, then Blues smashed the League One transfer record with their latest signing. If they are indeed building a dream team as Knighthead Capital push the boat out, will it work? Head straight over to the community tab on the Benjamin Bloom Football channel and vote in that poll. Will Birmingham win promotion from League One in 2024-25? There he is, the Icelandic Superman, 6'3", attacking midfielder, brought in from the Eredivisie, where his team have just qualified for Europe for, we think, nearly £3.5 million. Again, reported fees undisclosed. I don't know, but I do know that Willum Williamson should be way too good for League One next season. And the only kind of sensible analogy I can give here is this feels like the sort of signing that would be done by a team in the Championship with money trying to go against the parachute teams with the most money. Ergo, bringing someone in maybe from an untapped market, Eredivisie, not proven in English football, but potentially huge upside. It's not a deal we would expect to be done in League One. And Birmingham have done this deal and persuaded Williamson that he's probably going to be in the Championship pretty quickly. That is, I suspect, what's been sold to the most expensive player right now in League One history. He's not the only one in at Birmingham City. And remember, we're still 3 weeks from the start of the season, so this won't be the end of Birmingham's business from what I understand. Bailey Peacock-Farrell and Ryan Alsop in as goalkeepers. You can tell me in the comments who's going to be first choice. All I'll say is Ryan Alsop, I've just had a look, 139 Championship games in the past 4 seasons. So maybe he is the favourite there. But some League One knowledge and English football experience from both players there. Alex Cochrane, this will be the first comparison we're going to make to Ipswich Town. We'll talk about them at the end of the video as the gold at the end of the rainbow that Birmingham possibly are aiming for with this Knighthead Capital project. But yeah, expensive left back going in, Alex Cochrane, over £1 million from Hearts, I think, in Scotland, isn't it? Good age, I think it's 24, 25. Emil Hansen, another one from the Eredivisie. We think that's more like 1.5 million, or certainly 3 signings over £1 million, and we think one over 3 million in terms of these undisclosed fee. But a goal-scoring left winger to play in Chris Davies, we think 4-2-3-1 stroke 4-3-3 system. And I've got to say, the one I like the most, Alfie May. We're going to talk about League One and its idiosyncrasies. It's a very unique division. And in any division, you need goals. And if you want goals in League One, former Cheltenham Town and Charlton striker Alfie May is your guy. 23, 20 and 23 in League One with teams, and Cheltenham, frankly, down the bottom of the league. By the way, go on YouTube and look up Alfie May's brace for Cheltenham at Peterborough, I think it was. It was a couple of seasons ago when I was working for the ITV EFL show, and my God, we did a bit on that. One of the best braces you'll ever see, that one. Incredible League One talent. Is he a Premier League or Championship striker? I don't know, probably not. But this reminds me, forgive the comparison, of when Alex Ferguson signed Robin van Persie, knowing that he was going to retire, and he just wanted to win the league that season. I'm not talking about 5 years' time. I'm talking about now. Who can I get right now? I think Van Persie was pushing 30. Who can I get right now that's going to score me a load of goals this season and get the objective this season? And the objective, of course, is to get Birmingham back into the Championship. There are plenty of good players remaining, obviously, at Birmingham. This is where we have to talk about the ridiculous relegation that they had last season. And I'm half going to have sympathy. Well, I don't have sympathy for the Birmingham fans, but half going to have sympathy for Knighthead, and I'm half going to say they were complete idiots last season. Obviously, 4 managers wasn't clever. Wayne Rooney particularly wasn't clever. removing John Eustace at 6th in the table, I think. Well, you can tell me whether that was clever or not, but it didn't work out well. Tony Mowbray, that was unlucky because I think he'd have probably kept them up, wouldn't he? And then more chaos with Mark Venus, and it was too late for Gary Rowett at the end of the season. Complete carnage there. And I do have some sympathy in respects of, it wasn't just a freak season at the top of the championship last season, a freak high tide at the bottom. It is very rare that clubs down at the bottom of the table sack a manager and get a big change. And we saw that at QPR in Sheffield Wednesday. We saw massive changes there. We saw a good bounce for Stoke under Stephen Schumacher when he arrived. And even Plymouth at the end, they got the sort of 6 or 7 points quickly that they needed to get them away. Basically, Birmingham completely in the wrong place at the wrong time last season with that high tide to get relegated whilst everybody kind of moved ahead of them. You can talk about that, it's done, but what that does mean is this is a Birmingham squad that I don't think should have gone down in the first place. And if you add in the likes of Ethan Laird, Dion Sanderson, Christian Bielik, James Pike, Miyoshi as well, this should, in theory, on paper, football is not played on paper, I hear in the comments, but this should be a doddle in League One. But League One is not straightforward, and you don't want to get stuck in the League One trap, do you? And I was trying to explain League One as this weird place where on the one hand, you have failing clubs that have been in the Premier League and it even dropped out of the Championship down into League One. They tend not to go any lower. And then you have extremely high-performing small clubs. When my team Ipswich were in League One, they came up against Cheltenham, Morecambe, Accrington, Forest Green. They tend not to go any higher than League One. So you have this meeting in the middle. Birmingham would certainly be described as a failing big club who's had not only plenty of Premier League years, but for God's sake, a major trophy in fairly recent history, winning that EFL League Cup, whatever it was called then, Carabao Cup, Coca-Cola, I can't remember. Whatever it was, Birmingham won it, didn't they? And also, as I'm sure many people are going to point out, Chris Davis is an untried manager. A lot of these players, it wasn't on the kind of career trajectory a season or more in League One. And fair play to the teams that are going to do this. They are going to give Birmingham a horrible pitch, a horrible atmosphere. They're going to beat up on them. They're going to head it. They're going to kick it. They're going to get it away from their box, off the pitch, into the other box, and try and make life as hard as possible for Birmingham because they know they've got less money and less good players. And the League One trap, well, Leeds United, 3 seasons, huge club Leeds. Nottingham Forest currently in the Premier League, 3 seasons in recent times in League One. Sheffield United were in the Premier League last season, 6 seasons in League One in recent times. Sheffield Wednesday 2 very recently. And my own beloved Ipswich Town 4 seasons. And let's make this comparison that lots and lots of people are making to Ipswich Town. And let me say this quickly. You would be silly, very silly, foolhardy, I'm trying to be polite here, to make the assumption that because there are comparisons that you can reasonably make between Birmingham's situation and Ipswich's a couple of years ago, that the same thing's going to happen. You would also be equally silly, I think, because people get very binary about this, to just completely ignore the comparisons. And the comparisons are that Birmingham, like Ipswich, are a US-funded, rich League One club with ideas above that station. And of course, with wealth in English football, you have more chance of investing it and spending it in League One with the FFP rules than you do with that loss limit cap, hard cap in the Championship. And Ipswich made a pretty substantial loss when they got promoted, finishing second place in League One, and rode it out through the Championship. I'm sure that is the gold at the end of the rainbow that Birmingham will want, but easier said than done, despite the fact there's plenty of comparisons we can make. Will it work? You tell me over on the community tab there. Get voting. Will Birmingham win promotion? Have your say in the comments. And you can head over to a video I made about Coventry City yesterday, who are probably going to be doing what Birmingham want to do next season and getting out of the Championship? Will they get close and be back in the playoffs this season? Get your comments in on Birmingham and head over and watch that one about Coventry